This is the first video to section 4.3, and in it we're going to talk about the binomial distribution and the binomial experiment. We have three characteristics of a binomial experiment: a fixed number of trials that we let be represented by the letter n. There are only two possible outcomes that we call a success or a fail for every trial. And then the n trials are independent and are repeated using identical conditions. Let's practice this in the following example. State whether each experiment is binomial. Take a moment and read example 7a and 7b. For our first example, we have a lacrosse team. So we have to ask ourselves, are there a fixed number of trials? And yes, we have a fixed number of trials where n equals 3. Next, we have to ask ourselves, are there only two possible outcomes for each trial? And yes, there are only two outcomes. A success would mean the person being selected as captain. A failure is not being selected. But remember, in order to be a binomial experiment, all three of these conditions are true. So lastly, we have to ask ourselves, is the nth trial, meaning are each of these trials independent, and are they repeated using identical conditions? Well, if the names are not replaced into the hat, that means our sample size is different for every trial. So our trials are not independent. So this means we do not have a binomial experiment. Let's take a look at example B. Let's see if this example about adult workers with a high school diploma is a binomial. First, are there a fixed number of trials? And yes, we have selected 20 people. Next, we ask ourselves, are there only two possible outcomes called success and failure? And yes, a success is a randomly selected adult worker having a high school diploma, but is not pursuing any further education. And lastly, we ask, are the trials independent? And yes, these particular trials are independent. The probability that a worker has a high school diploma but is not pursuing higher education is 41%, or 0.41. Whereas Q, the probability that they're pursuing further education, would be 0.59. So yes, these trials are a binomial experiment. In the following chart on the next page, let's become familiar with some of the notation we use for a binomial experiment. We have first the random variable, being our capital letter X, and that will be the number of successes obtained in the number of independent trials. And next, we have the population mean, and the population mean is n times p, or the number of trials times the probability of success. Our variation is npq, the number of trials times the probability of success times the probability of failure, whereas our standard deviation will be the square root of n, p, q. So having a solid understanding of the x, the n, the p, the q is very helpful in these problems. In our OpenStax book, we like to use this type of notation for our binomial. What this means here, the B is that we have a binomial distribution. Again, the n is the number of trials and p is the probability of success. You'll be seeing this notation a lot in your OpenStax notebook. Let's take a look at example 8. We have a fair six-sided die rolled 10 times. We're interested in the probability of rolling a 3 a certain number of times. So in this case, what would be our random variable? And our success will be the number of times a 3 is rolled. List the values that x may take on. Well, x could take on 0, we might get no 3s, or we could get all the way up to 10 3s. So our random variable could take on any whole number from 0 to 10. Now let's give the distribution of x using the notation that we learned above. We have a random variable that we use the capital X for, and we have a binomial distribution with 10 trials and the probability of success being 1/6. Now let's finish up with letter D. How many 3s should we expect from 10 rolls? What is the standard deviation? Okay, let's remember what our N, our P, and our Q represent here. And we have them listed right here. Over here I did a little scratch work for how I got Q in case any of us need a refresher with some fractions. Let's recall that the mean will equal N times P, which will be 10 times 1/6, which is about 1.67. And let's remember our standard deviation. That equals the square root of NPQ. And we get about 1.1785. And that's the end of our first video to section 4.3.